I've gotten bullied. I've gotten death threats. I got people telling me to kill myself from when I was like 12. I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? They tell me to die. Okay, I've been through that. It's fine. I'm not doing this for the money. I know that if I just keep bringing good vibes, money will come.
I was also in a bunch of design communities in addition to Design Buddies. Pretty sure Design Buddies is the only one that survived.
Yeah.
Why do you think Design Buddies survived when all the other ones kind of died out or became spammy?
They died because...
Welcome to Creative Juices, the podcast where we drink juice with the world's leading creatives and unpack their journeys and practical tips to craft more meaningful stories, products, and lives. All opinions shared are personal and don't represent those of our employers. I'm your host, Justin Eitoku-Wong. Today we're chatting with Grace Ling, founder of the largest design community in the world. Grace is a full-time content creator and cracked the LinkedIn algorithm for getting millions of views on her posts. She's made over $1 million from her community and content and started her own podcast on how creators make money, all of which are topics on today's conversation. We're sitting here drinking some coconut juice.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I feel like you've mastered the art of networking. There's a lot of introverted designers who are like, ew, networking is kind of an icky feel.
I also feel icky about networking. I use the word networking online because people know what it is and it's easy to get a lot of views, but I actually hate the word networking because it feels very icky and transactional. So I kind of see it as making friends and seeing how we can help each other out and not having any expectations, just learning about what the person does and seeing if there's any crossover and staying connected. You never know. There could be something now or something down the line too. I also find that like in-person networking is easier if I go with a friend, especially if they're a super connector. For example, I just came back from South by Southwest. I'd never been, but I hung around like my friends, Jerry, Justin, AJ. They've been to South by so many times and they know a lot of people. They know me. So I just hung out with them and met a lot of people. So I think going with a friend helps a lot. And then going into new groups with a friend helps too. I also go to a lot of events with my boyfriend, whose also name is Justin. So yeah, 3 Justins here. Yeah. And it was like how he just goes up to random people. He told me that when he was in college, he would knock on everyone's dorm room and introduce himself. That's how he made a lot of friends. He has the kind of energy. I'm like scared to do that, but he just like helps break out. So like going with like one person helps a lot in networking. So I'm also very awkward. Like for me, I would never go up to any random person unless they're alone.
I feel like I would never have guessed that about you at the events. You're super talkative. I'm surprised that you are naturally super extroverted or talkative. You're even wearing like really cool outfits in your events and you have like props and stuff. How do you think you learned how to do that if that wasn't natural to you?
Yeah, I'm still kind of awkward about it. The reason why I feel like I appear very outgoing is a lot of people recognize me from LinkedIn. I am so awkward and just going out to people. So I just like don't know what to ask. I used to be a really shy kid. I grew up born and raised in like Cupertino, California. And my grandma from Taiwan moved in to take care of me and my sister when we were a kid. She's very traditional Asian where like you have to like, the women have to like be quiet, very demure, very mindful, very cutesy, you know? And I was just like, okay, I'll be like demure. And then I don't know, I was really rebellious. So I almost got expelled from middle school. From a young age, I was really loud. In high school, I got into content creation on Tumblr. That was when it first went viral. And then I started to post a lot. And then now like content is basically my full-time job. Like the more I post, the more I increase my service. I have a luck of people to find me and like give me like opportunities and stuff. So yeah, I feel like from just like rebelling against like traditional Asian cultures instilled for me at a young age to having like a big experience in middle school to like content creation and realizing people are pretty nice in general. And also recognizing that I don't have to please everybody.
Yeah. So if someone were to come up to you, what kind of interesting conversations would you want to have with people? Or like, are there any openers that you were like, oh, that's actually really interesting?
It depends on the context. I guess I'll give South by Southwest as an example. I asked about like what are goals? What's like the biggest problem you faced?
Yeah.
I get right into it. Depending on what their expertise is, I'll ask them like really specific question. For example, like if someone's in the creator economy space and they're very excited about LinkedIn, I ask them about how they think LinkedIn is shaping and how people can like stand out on LinkedIn. So it just depends on, I like to learn about what they do first and then I dive deeper. I ask them about their goals. What are you excited about lately? Like what's top of mind for you? Things like that.
I like those answers a lot more because it immediately creates a lot of threads of like what you can talk about compared to if you're just like, oh, where do you work? And it's like,
yeah,
I work at this company.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah.
And then ask what's top of mind, you can slowly unfold and peel back the layers of a person.
And then going back to content creation, What inspires you to create and put yourself? How did you go from being more quiet to wanting to share about design and running and art and all the stuff?
Yeah, I've been on the internet since I was like 3.
Wow.
I had a computer since I was born.
You grew up in Cupertino, so
Yeah.
kind of in the tech area.
Yeah, and I've been on the internet since I was like 5. I probably shouldn't have been on the internet when I was. I played Neopets. My friend, one of my parents' friends, helped me scan my artwork and put it on European Times. I got to scan the printer and stuff. It was really cute. That was like first like content I posted on the internet. And then I made DeviantArt when I was in middle school because I like to draw a lot. So I just posted on DeviantArt. In high school, I made Tumblr because, I don't know, Tumblr was really big back in like 2014-ish.
Mhm.
So I started posting a running diary on Tumblr. And people like, I don't know, I posted about like, oh, I am so scared to run this race. I am so painful. Oh, these kids, they're not very nice to me. And like, people just like found it really relatable on Tumblr. So it grew a lot, like 10K
Yeah.
followers in a year.
Wow.
I started getting brand deals and stuff in high school. When I was in college, I stopped making content. Fun fact, I was studying bioengineering and computer science engineering in college. It was really hard, so I kind of stopped doing content. And then until I graduated, so around like 2020, 2021, I wanted a job. So I started posting on LinkedIn and it grew a lot. And I landed a job from like reaching out to 400 people on LinkedIn. But I feel like the reason why they were interested in talking with me was I already documented a lot of my journey to show that I am hungry to learn, hungry to take feedback. So that was a major green flag for hiring managers, hiring interns especially. I started brand deals and collaborations from LinkedIn. And around the same time, I started Design Buddies and that grew a lot. Design Buddies has more followers than I do. So I feel like posting things online and making friends. In high school on Tumblr, I felt like I didn't have that many friends. So my online friends are my real friends. I was really awkward in high school too. I went to this high school called Limburg High School in San Jose, Cupertino, where after school, you spend your time going to SAT boot camps. All the parents are like, my kid went to the Harvard. Where can go la? You're going to go to the ends of community college. You're failure. That was the kind of environment I grew up in. I'm not really good at school, so I'm just like, meh. But yeah, I kind of got into content because I feel like I didn't have any real friends in my life. And then I needed a job. So out of like life necessity. And then I started like really enjoying it and connecting with so many other friends from that.
Yeah, that's interesting. That you had a specific I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I like the idea of making social media content. And they make it, but have no particular goal or aren't really thinking about it. But it seems like because you had that goal of, I want to get something out of it, you're able to tailor your content more and reach that. That's awesome.
KPIs, man.
KPIs.
Honestly, these things are kind of there for the vibe. I do want to 5x the revenue, but I also enjoy it. It's not the end of the world if I don't hit that goal. I'm doing it for the vibes and helping it connect me with people so I can learn from them more.
You mentioned like, you grew up in the high school environment where people were really focused on SATs and Harvard. I have a lot of friends who grew up in that environment, high performers. And then after graduating, there's not really structured metrics to always grow towards. Like not everything's handed to you like a test or quiz. Now it's up to you to design your own life. How do you think about what you're trying to strive towards or what brings most fulfillment for you?
Honestly, right now, I really enjoy making videos, like funny videos, making people laugh. I make fun of a lot of tech bros on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And I make fun of like, there's so many memes I can make with AI and SF in this micro bubble we are in. So it's fun. As long as I'm making people like feel happy, it's good.
Yeah.
With Design Buddies, we do want to grow it because the more we grow, the more impact we can make on the world. For my podcast, a big topic I'm recently really passionate about is like salary transparency. Because I realized I was underpaid. A lot of people are underpaid. And money is such a taboo topic, but I believe there's an abundance of opportunities for people to make a lot of money. And it all starts with us like talking about it, sharing what numbers, what is normal, and helping people negotiate more, especially creatives. I feel like a lot of times companies will underpay the creative side because it's what they call the passion tax.
Yeah.
And they abuse their passion, basically. And I want to help stop that from happening. So I'm interviewing people like, oh, how much are you getting paid? Making salary transparency unit-based. Because I was also underpaid. I've definitely been really underpaid for brand deals and as a designer too. So I'm trying to help people make more money because it shouldn't be a taboo topic. That's why I have a podcast, How Careers Make Money, and like throw salaries on LinkedIn. I feel like it helps you have more optionality in life, in a sense. I feel like money helps you do many things, but it shouldn't be everything you care about. Money just helps you have a better life. It does bring happiness in that sense. You have more options.
Yeah, it definitely creates more opportunities. There was a study by Daniel Kahneman. He tracked happiness and pay. And 60,000, he said after that, it plateaus. And then later on, there's a researcher who got an even bigger sample. And he's like, I did not find that plateau. Actually, as your pay increases, your happiness just increases exponentially. And all over the media, we hear like, oh, people with money, maybe they're just sad inside, or like they just optimize too much for money. And that might be the case for some, but it can create a lot of cool opportunities for people.
So not everyone. How do you think about how to evolve your goals in life?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I don't have a specific solution, but I just think about, at least for myself, it almost feels tragic that there's so many cool things that I want to do. And there's just not enough time for all of them. And I kind of just often like brain dump everything that I want to do, just like from moment to moment, or like even like month to month, or even a year. Of like, what are all the things I want to do? There's opportunity cost with all of them. Like, okay, this will take a lot of time, or this will take away from time. This, and then like just highlight like, oh, what can I do? What can I start planning for? What it brings me the most interest? What kind of sparks joy? Kind of like the Marie Kondo of like, for physical objects of like, does this object bring me joy? Well, I kind of look at like opportunities and be like, does this spark joy? If not, I don't need to do it. I don't need to do it if it's just based off of someone's expectation of me accomplishing thing. Like, do I actually find joy from it? And that's where I start.
Yeah. Whatever doesn't spark joy, should eat it out.
You talk about how you quit your job. What would you tell people who are interested in pursuing a passion, but like maybe feel a risk of like, oh, well, if I dive into this full time, then there's a chance that I like money might be hard, or there's less stability.
But I feel like it really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because I don't think working in tech or having a job is a bad thing. You do learn a lot from working. You can learn from building projects for millions of users. You can learn from other people, get paid, which is not a bad thing. Why I quit my job was I have so many interests in life that designing my kid goals wasn't really fulfilling. I used to be a UX designer. It wasn't really fulfilling. I do really appreciate my time there. I used to work at this company called Electronic Arts. You might know them as EA. Sometimes if I say EA, San Francisco thinks it's effective altruism, but it's different. And so it was fun. I worked on a lot of stuff for content creators, stuff with like The Sims, and it was a good time. I learned a lot and have some very fun, lasting friendships. Like I just caught up with a former friend of mine from EA just now at GDC. So I caught up with a bunch of my coworkers like 2 days ago too. It was like really fun. I met so many awesome people there too. But I just feel like I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I was there for almost 4 years. It's my first and only job. And I don't like to update my portfolio. I don't like to, so I just like never.
I don't think any designer will accept anything.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, no. Yeah, but I feel like when it comes to quitting a job, it's a very personal decision. There's the finances. There's also the immigration status, like having like a job pay you like your visa. So there's another layer to that. And some people like need to take care of a family, take care of things. For me, it depends how much runway you have too. I quit my job when I had 5 years of runway, which is a lot. Some people quit their job when they have 6 months of runway to try to make it work. I was on unpaid leave of absence because I was reflecting on it. Giving yourself some time to reflect, vibe check with people, and then make a decision. Don't rush into it. Reflect on your finances, how much runway you have, and that should dictate how much time you think you need to take some time to think about it, think about all the factors. And yeah, so for me, like some people quit the job when they have no other source of income. For me, I was already building Design Buddies. The amount of money I made that year was more than my job at EA. So that made me feel comfortable. I like to travel a lot and live a more bougie life. So yes, that is why. But some people, like if they have some sort of like recurring revenue, they can quit. But it really depends on your comfort level and how much you believe in your idea. And like having a fallback plan helps. Like if I ever decide to go back to corporate, I can reach out to designers and recruiters. So it's fine. I'm also exiting a job gracefully and not burning any bridges in case you ever want to return. Giving yourself more options.
I really like all those insights. And I like how your answers are always, it depends. Because I feel like these answers it depends.
It depends.
I feel like a lot of people would just be like, oh, this is the answer. But I like how you're like, oh, it's personalized for each individual.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah. And also the reason why I quit was I felt like it was at that time when all the companies were trying to do AI, incorporate AI. So I knew my workload was going to be a lot. And I couldn't keep up with all my passions. So I always wanted to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a job. But sometimes when your passion becomes your job, it feels worse. For design buddies, a lot of my job is partnerships, sponsorships, and creating content. I'm out there talking with people, negotiating, planning, organizing logistics. I do love it. It's fun. I do miss the craft, like during the design work. Just being uninterrupted for at least an hour. I haven't been able to do that for the last year. I'm considering hiring a manager to help me negotiate. I love negotiating, but it's so time consuming.
Yeah.
So I think doing it was good for me to learn. I'm considering hiring a manager to help me negotiate so I can earn more money and focus on creative work.
That's awesome. You can just focus on what you're interested in.
Yeah.
How has it been seeing Design Buddy start off as your baby and then seeing it grow to this huge community that it is? And it could almost run, you mentioned that you traveled for 2 months or something.
6 months straight.
6 months straight? Wow. So like 6 months straight, it's this huge thing that can run and there's a ton of people involved and there's autonomy in the structuring. How has that process felt?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I thought I wanted to be a digital nomad for longer, but 6 months, I really miss my friends. I really miss being at home, training for a marathon and having a regular schedule. I never have a regular schedule, but I also enjoy that too. But just like having like some structure is fun, but Design Buddies, we have we're team 3 full time. We are merged with this company called UX Go. So it's me, Leon, and Hannah as the 3 co-founders. And we have some part-timers too, like coaches, video editors, engineers to help build up our product. They're amazing. So how our roles are split up is Leon and Hannah handle a lot of the operations and product side. Where I come in is all the distribution, all the growth, marketing, customers. So I bring in like all of the students, most of the students, all the coaches, all the startup clients. They keep the operations running. And to be able to grow our community, grow our distribution, it helps a lot to travel because I get to meet people from different cultures so I can relate to more people, understand where they're coming from. Also, I just like love traveling. It's just really fun. I honestly like travel for the vibes. Like I don't have any goal. I'm just like, oh, I'm in Bali. Okay, I'll hope the Design Buddies meet up. And just vibes. I just meet friends. Thankfully, I have a team also on Discord. Most people behave pretty well, so it's like pretty chill. Sometimes we have like the self-promoters, the spammers, but our lovely moderators help kick them out. So shout out to them too. Having a team honestly helped me travel and be able to do the things I do. Traveling also helps me give back and grow our community more.
Yeah. Related to that point, too, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I was also in a bunch of design communities in addition to Design Buddies. Pretty sure Design Buddies is the only one that survived.
Yeah.
Why do you think Design Buddies survived when all the other ones kind of died out or became spammy?
They died because they became spammy. I'm really strict on spam in our community. We do still have spam because we have like 85,000 people in our Discord server. It's inevitable, but we just delete it or kindly tell people to move to self-promotion. People who are here to spam don't really care about being in the community, so I just like delete them. If they're like too spammy, I just like kick them out because obviously they're just here to like, promote their stuff. They don't really want to be part of the community anyways, so I just remove them.
Yeah. And what does creating community mean to you? You kind of talked a little bit about like creating Design Buddies as a community. How do you feel about that or how do you think about that?
Yeah, I used to be more, not nice, but give people second chances. But that person, like, for example, has been a longtime member, has been a valid contributor, and then suddenly start spamming. I would like ask them, hey, is everything all right? Just check in with them. But if they just join and start spamming all the channels, I'll just kick them out. Whatever.
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Does not pass the vibe check out.
Yeah. So like sharing the vibes and having a community that supports each other and helps each other out is what I define. I try to do this by creating more touch points for people to mingle. Like in Design Buddies, we host events. We have people host co-working sessions, book clubs. I try to show up to a lot of the events too. Even the online events, I just drop in and say hi and it's great. It's wholesome. Because I do want to be there, but I can't clone myself. But I do try to show up as much as I can. And then having other people lead the community too. And I think partially why we lasted so long was having a strong brand, like the bunny and the kawaii brand. The reason why it was so strong because I was really motivated to keep it strong. I just liked it a lot. I wasn't being fake. I was just being really authentic and including people. And I also like Design Buddies is a free community to join. But if people are not nice, they'll just be removed, sometimes without notice, because we used to give people warnings, but if they're here to cause problems, they would just like remove them. So it's like keeps the community good.
Yeah.
Recognizing that your community is not for everybody. If they want to go self-promote, they can join like an advertising server. There's there for advertising servers. So they can join that. Yeah. So just finding the balance of like, how do we cultivate a space where people can support each other, learn from each other and grow together and not have bad actors and having people like make it not a safe space.
Yeah, I like that because I feel like a lot of times when companies talk about that, they're like, oh, we're just creating culture. It's like, what exactly does that mean? And I like how you humanize it as like, we're creating vibes. We're trying to make it fun and human, which I think also to your point, I feel like your brand is really about that like authenticity.
Thank you.
Just having fun together. I feel like that differentiates itself with a lot of these other like design groups that were like very professional looking. And I feel like it just didn't have the authenticity.
Yeah, it's like not that human.
Yeah.
I mean, it's professional, which is fine for them, but that's why Design Buddy is not for everybody. Like some people think it's too chill, too casual.
Yeah.
They're not our target audience.
Yeah.
So having a target audience, not catering to everybody.
Well, have there been any highlights from design events?
Yes. Last year, I hosted 35 events.
Wow.
In 10 countries.
Yeah.
4 continents.
That's a lot of traveling.
Like a lot of our events in San Francisco, we always get like 500 signups.
Yeah.
We can't approve them all. We probably can approve like 200.
Okay, have you seen my name?
Yeah.
Put me out.
In Bangkok, 300 people showed up.
Oh, wow. That's, yeah.
Yeah, in Bangkok, across the world.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. Like in Singapore, 200 people showed up. So it's like, it's pretty cool because like I born and raised in the Bay Area. I've been here all my life. Never really lived anywhere else, but I've been to over 40 countries, but didn't like realize there's so many people outside of my bubble.
Yeah.
People are generally really nice most of the time. They're pretty chill. And I realize it's really easy to host an event.
Yeah.
Not that hard.
Yeah.
All I do is I like to have a co-host. Like I never really host on myself because like it helps. I like having co-hosts to like, we split up tasks, like find a venue, make the Luma, design the banner, promote it, welcome everybody. I like to have a co-host. I can't clone myself, but it's pretty fast to set an event up.
Yeah, that's awesome that you're doing that. I feel like when I started trying to do more design outreach, it was during COVID and there wasn't really that in-person vibe. And now that COVID's kind of died down, it's awesome that they're in person. It's awesome that there are things alive again and there's actually a design culture to it. I feel like it's a very different environment, like in person compared to just in a Zoom meeting with like 300 people. And they're like, okay, let's go to breakout rooms. It's cool having in-person connection.
I like in person much more.
Yeah.
Much better in person than over a Zoom meeting. I'm better like one-on-one. I'm not really good at like group meetings. What I noticed about senior designers, not all senior designers, but I talked to a couple of them and they're like, they said that they actively avoid design events because everybody wants them to review their portfolio. So they're hiding.
I usually get, for the most part, I've had relatively positive experiences, but I do get people occasionally of like, can you send me a referral? And it's like, can we talk first? I'm happy to give referrals if I know I can kind of vet their quality and stuff. But it's always like, it feels super, I just don't like the transactional thing of when it's almost like there's an expectation that I'll do something.
I feel that way too. I want to help people, but at the same time, I don't want them to use me or feel like it's a very unequal relationship.
Yeah.
Like, just the other day, I went to Lady Hewis Austin meetups. I was randomly in Texas. And most people, actually everybody knew me from Design Buddy. Like, literally everybody.
Celebrity.
In Austin too. But like, everyone was really nice and all. But there's some people who like, I feel like they're kind of pinning me down to like, ask me a bunch of career questions. I was like, I'm just there to vibe. Like, I don't want to talk about work or your design career. I just want to like make friends. So I just started talking with other people. I just try to maneuver myself near the crowd so I just blend in. But I think when I was at EA, I really liked what I was doing for work. I was really proud of it. Like I was building products for content creators. So people spend so much of their day on work and some people enjoy it a lot. So I don't think it's a bad thing. But when it becomes very transactional, like people only care to get something from you, this is more personal, but once I quit my job at EA, I started to get more distance with some friends because me and some design buddies when I used to live in Cupertino, we all hang out regularly.
Yeah.
Now we don't really talk anymore. But when we would hang out, we would talk about life, and sometimes they had politics at work. We would vent about it together. Sometimes they vent about return to office or relocation or like this PM will let me design or what.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a little bit of an imposter designer sometimes because yes, I did work at EA for like almost 4 years, but like I feel like people who are the same age have been in the industry much longer because I quit. I spent so much time in logistics, events, content, meetings, and relationship building, sponsorship partnerships that I haven't designed a website. I only made 2 things since I left. I made a landing page for a podcast in Framer. I skipped Figma, by the way. I just
That's so funny. Some people skip wireframes. You just go straight to Framer.
I gave it to my co-host to give feedback, and then I made it on Framer. So it's kind of funny. I really missed getting into the craft, the technical side. So it was fun. I also made the dashboard for another product we were working on for Design Buddies, but I feel like I don't spend that much time on craft anymore. So that's why I want to hire a manager so I can spend more time on craft. Yeah.
It's interesting that designing a community is not necessarily the same skills as being a designer.
No, it's different. No.
So yeah, I mean, it's worked out for you because you've been able to leverage those skills and
it's fun.
Different set of skills.
Yeah. But I do miss design. So hoping to draw more, become a really cracked video editor, like Adobe Premiere. I want to get really good at copywriting. I want to get really good at illustration, like Adobe Fresco and like Procreate.
Yeah.
Become a really good storyteller and speaker.
How do you think about applying them to specific projects, or how do you actually learn those skills for yourself?
Yeah, definitely use in projects. Like I'm also making a day in my life vlog. So I'm probably going to make it in like CapCut or Premiere Pro and do it voiceover. I try to improve my storytelling. So put the clips together and try to make it make sense.
Yeah.
Another example is I'm designing a bunch of characters in the comic series for Design Buddies.
Oh, fun.
So like comics and storytelling. I also have a bunch of like cinematic vlogs that I want to edit from like trips and stuff that are like on my GoPro. So teach myself Premiere Pro to make it really cool and put some music over on YouTube. I tried going on like Skillshare, like doing little tutorials, but like I'm just like feel like I'm like wasting my time. I should not wasting my time, but like I could be making something original.
Yeah, I basically asked the question because I feel like you're one of those people who just does it and applies it and learns it and it's really like go-getter thing. And I feel like to learn skills, the biggest skill boost you can have is if you have some kind of deadline or goal for a specific project. And so that's awesome that you're applying it and you're actually learning. Because I've also been in that situation where I'm like, okay, I want to learn this skill, be on Skillshare, and like not that interested in the starter project. And then I just like don't have the motivation to complete it.
Yes.
But when you're like, oh, this could have whatever impact, or I'm going to post it to social media and other people are going to see it, it feels like you've created something like art or it feels valuable.
With Framer, I watched some basics and I just asked ChatGPT how to do it.
Oh, it has an AI in your workflow. Yeah.
So I don't want to sit through all this tutorial. I just watched like 20 minutes of basic videos and I'm like, all right, I'm down to jump in. And I just like asked ChatGPT, but
Framer is pretty similar to Figma. So I've been messing around with it a little bit and it's pretty good at translating Figma to real code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I just realized I just skipped so much tests, so much steps as a UX designer.
Yeah.
I feel like my job is mostly marketing now.
Yeah. That's what it sounded like from what you're talking about.
Basically marketing. Yeah. I like it a lot.
How do you think about work-life balance with all these things that you're doing? It seems like a lot of your work are things that you like are passionate about and enjoy. It almost seems like it's not right to say work-life balance because it kind of is blended for your case.
It is very blended. And I designed it that way.
Yeah.
Because I want to enjoy life. I also like making money. So I can afford lots of great experiences.
Yeah.
Travel the world. Just find a way to enjoy it and delegate things I don't want to do. Like I can't code, so I'm an editor. But another skill I want to learn is vibe coding.
AI?
Using tools like Cursor, Lovable, Bold.new. I'm trying Bold.new right now. I'm going to try out other things. And the project I am building to learn vibe coding is an ADP-less competitor.
Interesting. I want to test it.
Yeah. So I made the whole website with 5 pages in just 10 minutes.
Wow.
So basically what I did, right, so context, like why ADP-less competitor? Those of you listening might know ADP-less. I used to think they're awesome. They're like amazing because they helped connect people to mentors. I used to look up to their founder a lot, Felix. And I thought they were so cool. And their mission was great until a bunch of allegations came out against him on LinkedIn. In the past few weeks, Felix has been caught plagiarizing and stealing content over the years and mistreating their volunteers and employees. He also treated me very bad as a business partner too, a couple of years ago. So yeah. And when all the allegations came out, I'm just like, oh, okay. But since it's kind of spicy right now on LinkedIn, it's very hot. People are very emotional. I notice designers, they're very empathetic people, feel feelings a lot. They express them, which is amazing. And I love that. But they're really mad about Eitoku right now. So I've noticed that I like making funny content. So I'm making a TikTok of bringing vibe coding competitor because people are mad at them right now. So I'm just going to swoop it.
Riding the wave and sweeping in.
I was to learn vibe coding, and then this thing came out. I was like, oh, I've just vibe coded one, learned how to use cursor finally.
That's interesting. So not only are you like, oh, how can I find a project that incorporates a skill, you're also like looking at opportunities in the market to swoop in.
Yes.
I feel like that's like, a lot of people don't think about that. They don't think about the next step, but that's the next level of how do I basically turn this into a business?
Yes. Taking over their market share.
You're becoming marketer, PM, designer, and then you use AI to do engineer work.
It's like, I feel like as a business owner, identify market gaps and filling them with your own original ideas. Not original. ADPS is not an original idea. Design Buddies is not original, but it's your own take on it. It's like, I feel like the difference between like for creatives, like plagiarism and originality is like, I feel like plagiarism is blatantly copying stuff, like copying word for word, but taking inspiration as creating your own version of it. As a creative and a business owner, it's good to be inspired by these market forces or what other people are doing and see how you can come in with your own flavor. So I have a chat tomorrow with some very senior designers in the jam and stuff. I'm excited to work with more senior designers because they are crack designers. I also feel kind of new to the industry, but I have a huge audience. Seeing what waves we can move. I'm just here for the vibes. This is not going to be some VC-backed startup. It's just something we're going to provide for free. We're not going to gamify it. We're not going to abuse any volunteers. We're not going to charge anybody. I feel like people are upset with AD+. People are looking for alternatives on LinkedIn and all the comments. So I was like, why not just build an alternative? Because people are looking for it and do it as a not-for-profit kind of thing for the community. Vibe coding AD+, so stay tuned. We'll see where this goes. I literally have no plans, no goals. We're just going to launch it and see what happens.
How has your experience been with that so far?
It's been really great. I studied CS in school, but I cannot code.
How did you study CS in college but not learn how to code?
I know how to code, but I haven't touched it in like 5 years.
Okay, so
but I feel like it depends on how production ready you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm just making a database of mentors people can interact with. So
Yeah.
it's not a whole web app or a whole game I have to make. So it's not that many interactive elements. So that one, I think it's fine. I'm going to try out the other one, see what comes up and see where that goes. They have a debug. So I just chat with the code and it debugs it for me. I have no idea what they're writing, but it works.
Test case passed. Yes. Okay. Good.
It's like something not that technical. I feel like if I were to code an entire social media platform, I probably shouldn't. Something like very complex, I can't. But this one just literally just like a database.
Yeah. Seems like an awesome, like simple, you probably won't overthink it too much. And you know that there's already value and like a need for it. So.
Yeah. I'm so excited to build. I love building stuff. That's what I like to do. It keeps me going. It's building an audience, building programs, building products.
Yeah.
Building things.
What inspires you to build or create or even inspires your own creative work?
I'm just like, I feel like I have nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
My background is I've gotten bullied. I've gotten death threats. I got people telling me to kill myself from when I was like 12. And I've gotten counseled on Design Buddies like 4 years ago. I'm just like, what's the worst that can happen? They tell me to die. Okay, I've been through that. It's fine. They're probably like in their mom's basement or whatever, keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
So I'm just here to help. I'm not doing this for the money. I know that if I just keep bringing good vibes, money will come. And not everything is tied to KPI or money. I believe that when I do things authentically, the money will come, which has happened to me. Like Design Buddies, I didn't make any money for the first 2 years because I didn't know I could make money from it. I was just thinking for the vibe. I liked community building. And I think that's when I realized that, that's why Design Buddies is still free and our newsletter is free and most of our stuff is free. If they want to get a more personalized experience, then they can pay because it requires having people skin in the game too. Working with sponsors who respect my authentic voice. And I have a whole other story dealing with sponsors, but Very selective with the sponsors, making sure that I don't dilute my own voice has been like a dance that I'm currently dealing with and always dealing with too. Just pure curiosity. I just want to see what happens.
When you say dilute voice, what do you mean by that?
Dilute? Oh, yeah.
They're saying, oh, you should speak in this way.
Yeah, so the more you promote other people's product, the more you dilute your own voice. I just like to promote design buddies and the community and the people in it and what we do and the events we host. But also, I like working with companies like Adobe, Notion, Framer, who I actually I'm not sponsored by Framer to say like I love using Framer. I genuinely love using Framer, but they also like one of our sponsors, but I'm not sponsored to say that. Okay. So
Yeah.
but so sometimes when I make like a reel in the sponsored, they want me to like say certain things.
So it's kind of scripted-y.
Things. Yeah. And I'm very careful. I have a lawyer reviewing all my contracts because a big part of our revenue does come with working with brands. These brands have a lot of money and they want to get in front of my audience.
Yeah.
I turn down 95% of the brand deals because it feels very transactional. I've also noticed this a lot at events is like people just only want to be friends with me if they want me to promote their stuff in our community. If it's a friend, then I'm happy to promote it for free. But if there's meeting with the first time and the conversation is like that, I can clearly tell their intentions are not there. They don't care about me, but they care about my audience and want to get in front of them more.
Yeah.
So I'm very careful about what message I want to put out there because I messed up once. One time there was this certification program. I saw good reviews mostly about them, but they kind of wanted me to promote them a lot. Like,
was it like a design certification?
Yeah. They offered me like $1,000 commission for every student I bring on, but they wanted me to promote them so hard with no upfront payment.
Wow.
So they wanted me to host, I forgot how many webinars, but make a dedicated website for them. It was a lot of work. I accidentally took that on. Thankfully, the contract is now expired. I kind of regretted that. And then when I shared that, it seemed like a really good deal because $1,000 per lead, or like, I think the offer they were doing was like $3,000 per lead at that time, was like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I have a huge audience who also will probably buy the course. So I was like, ooh, this was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
When I promoted that, a lot of very senior designers left Design Buddies because they saw me as a sellout.
I see.
And that was when I really started to rethink because I got really excited about making money from design. I was still working at EA at that time, so I didn't need the money, but I'm just like, damn, if I quit, I could like become a millionaire, whatever. So I let that excitement kind of make me like step over my authenticity. And when I saw very senior designers who've been active in the community for years leave at the same time, I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up. So that's when I realized that I want to be more selective. I'm not going to chase the money. I'm just going to work with partners that let me keep my own voice.
Wow, that's powerful that you're able to have your own values into it and being selective based off of your own values. That's awesome that you're able to do that.
And then the other people who left, I used to hang out a lot in South Bay. And I feel like I kind of faded away from being friends with them because I also moved to SF, but it was kind of sad because we were friends in real life and then they all left at the same time.
Oh,
because I started promoting that boot camp. Yeah. So that's when I learned like, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. But oh well.
Good learning lesson.
I fucked up, but I don't think any of them have come back, but there's always new people and it's fine. I was really sad actually, but it's okay. If they were actual friends, they would probably check up on me and not just leave without telling me anything. So they weren't real friends in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, you can't please everybody.
Yeah.
And you never know what's going through someone's head.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was deep. I never shared that on a podcast before. That's when I realized.
You heard it first.
I was like reflecting on sponsorship, selling out, voices. Oh yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. So also we kind of touched on this, but like what exactly is a day in the life of Grace look like? You mentioned that you have all these variable things going on. You're trying to balance these things.
Typically, I can start my day. So I do have like a typical kind of structure to this is I wake up, I don't know, sometime between like 7 to like 9 a.m. I post on LinkedIn. I make my coffee. I post on LinkedIn. I respond to some time-sensitive emails and text messages. I go for a run. I even meet up with a friend to run and run with myself. Go home, take a shower, take my first meeting of the day, which usually starts, my Calendly is only open from like 12 p.m. onwards. Like no one can skip.
That's so nice.
Yeah. I rarely take calls before 12. I do sometimes if they're on the East Coast or in Europe. I make exceptions. I don't have a typical day, but 2 to 4 meetings a day. And I do have some deep work time. Sometimes in the evening, I go to an event and mingle, hang out, and go eat dinner, go to sleep.
Well, I'm grateful that you made time for this
Me too.
podcast.
I was around downtown today. Thanks for having me on. This is really fun. We're building another community house.
How did that come about also? I feel like
Bunny
I've seen
house?
like the bunny houses. I've
Yes.
seen you post about them, and I'm always curious, like I feel like that takes a lot of courage to be like, I'm gonna create a house of people to create stuff together.
I was planning to make Bunny House, but last year, early 2024, I realized that, so I was living with my parents my whole life. My parents are great. I understand where they're coming from. They're amazing people and just want the best, but they're very sheltered to me. They cared about my thoughts. They judged me for what I was wearing. They judged me for what media I was consuming, and just like very like wanting me to be a traditional Asian kid. And I realized the thoughts I was having is like kind of like aligned to their. It's like I have to always agree with them. So I moved out of my parents' house because I feel like I wanted to see how I can grow without them sharing their opinions with me. I wanted to mess up and learn myself. Like I wanted to fuck up and learn. Like I knew I was like in such a sheltered life. Like they did all my chores, cooked for
wow.
me, drove me everywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't get my license until I was 23.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they did everything for me. And yeah, they did it because they cared a lot. They're immigrant parents from Taiwan and Singapore. So yeah, in their generation, it was like you had to protect and stuff. I do understand, I do respect it, but I feel like it did prevent me from growing as a person and being able to drive, look, or do my show.
Yeah.
I was a very spoiled kid. And I just feel like I was not very experienced in life. So I moved to SF.
There's often a taboo with Asian American parents, like children should become an engineer, doctor, and I guess you were studying to be an engineer. Was there any weird taboo when you mentioned, hey, I actually want to be a designer, not to be an engineer, or I want to quit my job? How did they react?
Yeah. So my parents, they're both professors. They both have a PhD. One of them is a dean. One of them is a professor leader. And the professor, you typically stay at a job for 30 years.
Well,
So-
yeah, I see. That's a very long tenure.
Very long tenure. And they wanted me to like to be a doctor engineer because they're engineers and they're like, you had the brain, you have the DNA too. I'm like, okay. So I tried and I suck at engineering. I suck at math. Like my default grade is probably like a C plus or a B minus.
I saw you posted your transcript online.
Yeah. Yes, I did. That one went viral too. I just have no boundaries. I'm just like exposed.
It's interesting that one's kind of about vulnerability or like those kind of taboo-ish topics perform super well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to start a trend, but no one else has posted their transcript yet.
Okay.
So my parents found out that, okay, so like first they're okay with me being a designer because they heard about how much money I made.
I feel like that's a constant trend that I've heard of like Asian parents be like, no, you can't be creative. Oh, wait, that's how much money? Okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's fine. It's fine. And then when I quit my job, they found out through LinkedIn. I didn't tell them. At first, they would send me paragraphs, concerned messages. But then I just told them how much money I was making and they're okay with it. I also hosted I quit my job party on 420. I quit my job on April 1st. I made a LinkedIn post, shit posting. I was like, oh, I'm so excited to be in corporate America. I want to climb the corporate ladder because I will achieve enlightenment. And then that was a shit post. I'll probably do some shit post again. Yes, that's when I quit my job, but I actually like shit post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And then I host on 420. I made like a I quit my job party just so I thought it was funny. But then I like don't like weed, so I probably deprive people of their 420. So I'm sorry. I invited my parents to come and they gave a speech and it was really wholesome.
Oh,
They said
that's
they're really
cute.
proud.
Well, that's nice.
Mhm.
It's also cool that in all the stories you mentioned, I can already see the huge transformative arc. You started off very quiet and sheltered. The Grace I'm meeting now or kind of have met is a completely different person.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Appreciate
awesome
it.
that you've gone through that growth.
Were your parents also very strict and stuff as well?
It was kind of mixed. My parents were very like, oh, you have to perform well in school. I did piano and a bunch of extracurriculars. I studied a lot. My dad knew I was doing okay in academics, but he was a doctor. He had a nuanced approach where he was like, it's okay if you don't become a doctor because he's like, I went to medical school. I know that's not for everybody. Like there's a lot of people who like try it and then they burn out and it's not a good career and not a good personality fit. He kind of had a talk of like, if you do a role that maybe won't pay as well or is more risky, just know that's the lifestyle you're choosing and the things you want in your life, the lifestyle you want for yourself might not match with what you can afford with the pay. I didn't know design was a role when I was growing up because I grew up in Monterey. Like most people are like in farm work or there's an aquarium. I didn't know many people in tech. I didn't know design was a career. I just thought it was like art. And so when I started approaching that, I think my dad also thought like, okay, he's trying to be an artist. And so we had a conversation, I think, about like, he's like, well, you can become an artist, but just know that this lifestyle might not be the best. Kind of like warning. I do feel like there's also an internalizing in my head of, well, art is not as prestigious as these other things. For a while, I told people I was going to be a PM. It sounds more official and cool. So I studied a lot of PM stuff and I tried to become a PM. But then in college, I was like, I actually really liked doing design work. And I've always liked making stuff. It took me a long time to say that I was a designer. Like, I was even interning as a designer and I wasn't telling people I was a designer. I was like, oh, well, it's just a temporary thing. Over time, just building up the confidence to say I'm a designer eventually helped me almost come out to my family and be like, I'm a designer. I'm thinking, I'm thinking about this career path. And then the salary thing helped, like showing that like, hey, it actually makes a good amount of money and it's actually driving value for the business. Last 3 questions, actually. If you were to put anything on a billboard, what would it say?
The message I'm trying to share with people is have more fun, uplift each other instead of competing. Money is not taboo. There's enough for everybody to be successful. Because I feel like a lot of problems are started when people start to get jealous or start to like ruin people's lives because they feel like there's only one that can win. Scarcity mindset. There's opportunities for everybody and just be happy, help each other. And that's actually alone for Billboard.
Where can people find you and Design Buddies?
Yes. So Design Buddies, if you Google Design Buddies, you'll probably see our website, designbuddies.community. Me, I am Grace Ling on like LinkedIn. I run Grace Pace on Instagram. Yeah, I'm everywhere. Grace Pace on Twitter. I respond to Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, probably the most. But if you want to join Design Buddies, we have Discord, discord.ug/Design Buddies. Our website, we can find all of our links. So feel free to join. It's free. It's all for the good vibe.
What's a question you'd ask the next person that I have on this podcast?
What do you do with your life if you have unlimited resources?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, do you have an answer to that yourself?
Right now, it changes every few months. It's like buying a bunch of mansions in big cities like New York, SF, LA. So I always have a place to live and I can host big parties there. I can always go anywhere I want, have a place to live, and I bring good people over.
That's interesting that you're almost doing that with your
smaller
communities around the world. I mean, that's a good sign that you're kind of doing what you're...
Mansions are expensive.
Yeah.
But it's not that hard to rent one.
Thank you so much for spending the time to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
There were a lot of takeaways I had from this episode. First, the best way to learn skills is to have something that holds you motivated and accountable, rather than just spending a bunch of time on tutorials. And better yet, recognize a demand for that need, and you'll have both people and maybe even money holding you accountable. 2, when getting sponsorships, be mindful of brand dilution. 3, curating the right community vibes can be the difference between a community dying out and one becoming one of the largest in the world. 4, there's enough for everyone to be successful in the world.